What is up, the Lions fans? You already know what it is. It's your boy, Motor City Don P, and we are back here once again. And I see that the chat is lit up. It is moving, baby. So let me go ahead and get this introduction out the way, and then we'll go ahead and jump right into the chat because I know what y'all are here to talk about. Y'all here to talk about nothing, a whole lot of nothing, baby. But once again, when you see me in front of TV, you already know one thing's for certain, and three things are for sure. Number one, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. Number two, we came to give you stats, not none of that static. And number three, number three, perhaps the most important number of them all, number three. We want to make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And you may be asking yourself, how, Don? How, Mr. P, does one keep their Lions news pragmatic? Well, I'll tell you. It's a very simple process. I'm glad that you asked. Smash like button, subscribe, share. And since sharing is caring, when you share this stream with your mothers, your cousins, your uncles, your sisters, your fathers, your brothers, your sisters, your mothers, your cousins, your uncles, your sisters, your brothers, you name it, then you have indeed cared about these people. All right, the chat is rolling, so we're going to go ahead and get right into it. I will put your chats on the screen and we will react to them live and in living color. You can do what you want to do in living color. You already know what it is. I am furious, livid, in fact. What up, though, Jody Carruthers? It's almost as if our GM doesn't give a crap. Also, I can only imagine how betrayed Goff must feel, but can't express publicly. I found his lack of a trade mind-boggling. Yes, there were offensive line options available, and we said, hey man, nobody trades offensive linemen, man, unless they're in the fire sale. And there were some teams in the fire sale, and they were ready to trade their offensive linemen, and nothing happened. Boing, boing, man. All right. Frog Cop says, I hope Goff starts wearing extra padding. That might help. Evening, Jody. I think this is the moment we've all been waiting for. What do you think Don P is going to say? Well, yeah, I'll give it to you guys. Just you wait. I also can't believe I saw people saying Brad did sign a guard today. In his defense, a practice squad guard is supposed to make me feel relieved. SMH, you nailed it on the head, Jody Carruthers. But we'll get into all of that in a bit. Oh, I think DP will be disgusted too. Most fans and pundits are disgusted, but we've got the soldier few. We've got them. They're here. I've been a healthy scratch of late, so I've got to get back on the field of play to find out what scheme we're running this week. So no offensive line help. Well, we did sign a backup practice squad offensive guard today. Is that the help that you're looking for? Oh God. Yeah. I'm getting you up out of here, bro. Yeah, because I don't have time to deal with you today. You know what I'm saying? I don't have time to deal with you today. So no offensive line help. Who did I put it? Yeah, okay. I'm sure. That was the guy. All right. Brad Holmes, Depot strikes again. Indeed, he does strike again. And Davin Glass still has a roster spot. He does. And he's coming back, and people are excited. I think Donkey Kong is the most excited out of all of them. Dr. Detroit, what up, though? Says Brad is a scout, not a GM. We'll get to it. I know a guy with two thumbs that said this was going to happen. I'll give you two guesses, but you're only going to need one. Is it this guy with the two thumbs? More saving, less doing. The Homes Depot. Shift God, what up, though? He says, I don't know how they make the Super Bowl now. We'll talk about how they make the Super Bowl, if they are even going to make it. 9 weeks and they still look completely lost and incompetent. The problem is more than the offensive line. It trails back to Morton. Dynamo! Shout out Murphy! Okay, you must have missed the show yesterday because I went in on that, man. Today, I didn't even expect an edge move, but today it was last year's deadline, but on offensive line. I had already not cared about an edge after after the game a couple days ago. I was like, okay, well, we need offensive line help. My guy's got a fractured ankle, but we're good. Brad, too complacent. I laugh because half of our fan base loves to put him on the same tier as Howie Roseman and John Lynch. They're not ball seers, bro. They're not ball seers. I'm sorry. Exactly. 11 call up. You can do what you wanna do. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Jennifer Lopez. Fly girl, indeed. Philly 49 to the Lions 10. I don't think it's gonna be that bad. Do you? I mean, it's possible. I was gonna kick him too. Yeah, Donkey Kong, bro. That dude, man. What if teams just don't want to trade with the Lions? Is that a realistic thought? It is a realistic thought, but we're going to get into all of that in a second. Listen, I'm pissed. Me too, baby. Me too. OL, SMH. Facts. Brad got some explaining to do. Facts. I do feel bad for Hendrickson, though. Why? Because he's still there. He's good. He's leaving after this season, so he's leaving on a jet plane. Speaking of jet planes and leaving, Sauce Gardner didn't come home to Detroit. I mean, he's closer. He's in Indy, right? He's in the middle. He's in the. I was about to say the Middle East. He's in. He's in the Midwest. Okay, 56-3. 38-23 Philly. Y'all don't we have the Commanders next? Oh, wait, my bad. Somebody told me yesterday that I would be back on the bandwagon once they beat the Commanders, or I shouldn't be surprised if they lose to the Commanders and Philly. They're still going to make the playoffs, bro. If you lose to this Commanders team, unless the Bengals fried, I don't think that was probably negotiated. Lucky if we make the playoffs. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. Y'all are here, and y'all know what happened. And Brad Holmes got to tap it. That's all he was doing with his fingers. He wasn't really picking up no ringers. Brad Holmes. All right, that's the thing song. All right, Brad Holmes gets to the trade deadline, and for the second time in his 5-year tenure, does absolutely nothing. Now, the first year that he was here and he did absolutely nothing, it was very, very, very easy to see why he didn't do anything, because number one, we didn't have anybody that anybody else wanted. And number two, we got draft picks. We got draft picks for Jared Goff in that trade and everything, Matthew Stafford, all of that stuff. So, hey, let's use the draft picks that we got to draft players who will be part of this core going forward. So I didn't have a zero problem with Brad Holmes doing nothing at deadline number one. And also, he's the first-year GM. He's still got to see what this roster is giving him throughout the entire season. It's an evaluation situation. Now you come into year 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12. You come into year 5 and you got needs. As they say, I got needs. My needs need to be satisfied. You didn't satisfy my needs, Brad. Pause. You didn't satisfy the needs of this team, Brad. Pause. Because this team needed offensive line help. It was very clear in a game in which your offensive coordinator had zero answers for the blitz, and it wasn't even an exotic blitz. It was just blitzing up the middle. Because, as I said, if you can't stop it, we're not going to do nothing different. It's going to keep doing it. So what happened was, in this game, Penei Sewell got hurt. He got some turf in his eye. And then he got something happen with his shoulder. And then Penei Sewell's not even going to practice this week, but he's going to play. And Taylor Decker, he's been dealing with something for the entire offseason. He had, what did he say, offseason shoulder surgery, and it was supposed to be good, but it ain't been good all season long. We're in game number 8, not week number 8. We're about to go into game number 9, but week number 10. And Christian Mahogany fractured his ankle. And you had to put in Coyote in there. And then Tate Ratledge is banged up in the game and out of the game and in the game and back again. And you decided that with the Washington Commanders, your upcoming opponent, offering up the league two offensive linemen. One of them was 31, the other one was 28 years old. One of them has Super Bowl rings. That one is from Michigan. That one is 6'6", 310 pounds, and plays both guard spots and right tackle. That's a guy that if you would have gotten him, it would have been a huge boon for Brad Holmes. Why? Because, as I said, Penei Sewell is our right tackle. He was banged up. Decker is our left tackle. He's banged up. Our left guard, the starter, Christian Mahogany, is lost for a long time. And as I said, Tate Ratledge was in and out of the lineup. Well, you've got a guy who can play 3 different positions. You got a guy that can play 3 different positions. Not trading for him signified that you felt supremely confident with the backups that you had. Here's the thing that I'm looking at, right? There's 2 things, all right? I'm going to address them one by one. And so in a day like this, I'm just gonna ask y'all if it's really important. If you really want me to read it, please throw a super chat in there, because I'm gonna get lost in your comments today, because I know that you firing them up. I'm gonna try to keep up with them, but I'll do what I can. All right, 2 things that I'm gonna talk about. Number 1, stubbornness, belief, and arrogance. I know that sounds like 3 things, but it all fits into one situation. Stubbornness, belief, and arrogance. If you want to call it arrogance, it may sound bad and negative because it generally is, but you have to have a certain stubbornness, belief, and arrogance to make it this far, to make it as a coach in the NFL, to make it as a GM in the NFL. You have to have a certain level of stubbornness, belief, and arrogance. You have to be stubborn, you have to believe in, and you have to be arrogant about your way. The way of the Lions, unfortunately, is the way of the backup. It is the next man up mentality. And you cannot waver from that, and you have to be ready to go. Well, here's the problem with the next man up mentality. Against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Legion of Whom was balling. Arthur Mollett was getting interceptions, taking them away from players. The Legion of Whom is where it's at. The Legion of Whom gave up the largest plays against the Minnesota Vikings in the secondary. Kirby Joseph couldn't play, so you had Thomas Harper back there, allowing TJ Hockenson to score a touchdown in Detroit, which should never happen ever again. But he allowed TJ Hockenson to score a touchdown because he was just ahead of Hockenson, wasn't really paying attention to where Hockenson was or what Hockenson was doing. He was just kind of lollygagging and just, I'm out in front of him so he can't catch a ball. He stopped. He just stopped running. It was like, hey, JJ, right here, wide open. Thomas Harper. Do you think that would have happened had Kirby Joseph been in the game? No. No. Arthur Millette got burnt twice. I think it was Millette and Harper on that last play where Speedy Naylor caught that ball and ended the game. See, what I talked about yesterday, I talked about that bump, right? I talked about that new quarterback bump. I talked about that new coach bump, the interim coach bump. There was a certain bump that we got with the Legion of Whom. There was a certain energy that we were riding on, and we were riding on fumes because we had no choice but to do it, and they had to step up. And then today, or not today, but on Sunday, they reminded us why they are called the Legion of Whom, because nobody knows who the hell they are, and they are backups. So that is the way in which the Detroit Lions operate. Next man up is cute. We over here keying about the Legion of Whom, but then you saw why they're not starters in the very next game. So the way of the backup, the way of the next man up gives you false confidence. Because when so many times you come in, you've got these guys off the street and off the couch and off this practice squad and that practice squad, and they come in and they produce and they help you win games. They help you win a game here and there, but they never helped you when it was time to win something that mattered. They didn't help you when it was time to beat the Washington Commanders last year. Did they? Did all those backups help? Nope, they didn't. And then I told everybody that the Washington Commanders weren't even that good because we had a team that was depleted by injury, and we also gave you 5 turnovers to you giving us none, and you beat us by 14 points. And I told everyone that the Washington Commanders weren't that good last year, and people didn't believe me. People didn't buy it. I was called a madman. But that's neither here nor there. Number 2, the second thing that I'm going to talk about, and this all ties in to the trade deadline, right? So the belief, the confidence, and the arrogance ties into why you believe that you can just trot guys out there. And it's a false belief. It's a false hope. Because when you have the opportunity to get help and you don't, then it blows up in your face. Number 2, Brad Holmes, you got to stop with these projects, bro. You really must stop it. You're wasting assets. Here's the thing. Obviously, it's belief, confidence, and arrogance in the way that you draft and the way that you move around and you do all these things. Cool. The question was, could it be that teams just don't want to trade with the Detroit Lions? And it could be that. But you know what also helps? When teams just don't want to trade with you, but you got stuff to give them. What did you have to give anybody this season? Howie Roseman traded a 3rd-round pick for Jaden Phillips. Now, guess what? The Eagles just won the Super Bowl. The only way that the Detroit Lions would have a lower pick than the Philadelphia Eagles is to knock them off in the playoffs and probably an NFC Championship game. Howie Roseman took an extremely low 3rd-rounder and handed it to the Miami Dolphins, and they took it. Because Howie Roseman saw that his team needed an edge rusher, and he went out and got one. Okay? That's it. He saw the need. He went out and got it. He didn't hem. He didn't haw. He didn't talk about our guys and this, that, and the third thing. No. No. He said, "This, we need something. I'm gonna go get it because that's my job as a GM." And the confidence in Howie Roseman is much higher than the confidence in Brad Holmes. Why? Because Howie Roseman's won 2 Super Bowls. Brad Holmes has not won any Super Bowls. Brad Holmes has not been to any Super Bowls. We had an opportunity. We blew it. But since you don't have any 3rd-round picks to give them for Jaelan Phillips, you can't enter that bidding war. Hey, Brad, Howie said he's going to give me a 3rd. What you going to do? Well, you know you're not giving them a 2nd or a 1st. I'm not asking you to do that. That would be malfeasance, right? But you can't offer them the same 3rd-round pick. You can't say, well, fine. If they're going to give you a 3rd, I'll give you a 3rd and a 7th. Now what? So with the higher tier players, you can't really start bidding because you took 3 3rd-round picks and you sank them into Isaac TeSlaa, who, again, nothing against the player and Isaac TeSlaa. He makes some sick one-handed catches. The first 2 catches of his NFL career, he didn't use both hands. His 3rd catch, he finally used 2 hands. He's got 6 targets, ladies and gentlemen. Are those 6 targets worth protection for Jared Goff? Are those 6 targets worth putting another edge rusher opposite Aiden Hutchinson? Because you don't have anybody but AQM. If he gets hurt, you've got no one to replace him. Don't talk to me about Tyrus Wheat. I'm sorry. Don't talk to me about the corpse of Marcus Davenport. I'm sorry. All you've got is AQM, guys. That's it. So would a solid rotational piece been better than Isaac TeSlaa right now? Bet your bottom dollar. So what I'm saying is, Brad Holmes, do what you do. Draft how you draft. But don't act like, and this is what I was hearing during the draft. Well, Brad Holmes said that, because of the NIL situation, they're really effing up the money for the NFL, right? Because of the NIL situation, these 3rd-round picks will be, staying in longer and yada, yada, yada. Cool. Now what? Because we don't have 3rd-round picks, we can't play the game. You can only play the 5th round, the 4th round, the 5th round, the 6th, 7th. You can play that game. But when somebody gives up a 4th for a player, and they're at the top of the pick chain because they suck, you can't really outbid them with your 4th, so you got to give them a 3rd. And because you can't give them that 3rd, then that guy goes to that team that could give them the 1st overall pick in the 4th round. Rather than the last couple picks or last 3-4 picks in the 3rd round. It's very simple. It's very simple. I'm not really going to crash out about it because you can't fix it. Am I disgusted by it? Yes. I feel like we can't have nice things. I feel like, we've got a great roster, we've got great players and all these other things. But where is that all-in move? Where is the move where Brad Holmes has pushed his chips to the middle of the table and said, "We're going to win a Super Bowl"? Like at some point, culture be damned. At some point, I'm not gonna say the locker room be damned, right? But at some point, culture be damned. I think if this guy comes to the locker room and understands the dynamic of the locker room, a lot of people will slot right in. Now there are people that won't slot in at all. There are people that will resist the culture change. They'll resist all those things, and unfortunately, those people either have to go or you shouldn't sign them in the first place. That's cool. But we keep going and finding bargain bin guys on the practice squad of some team who haven't played this year or who have played very little, or who have played a game here and there. Like, that's the same value as Isaac Tesla and his 6 targets and 3 catches. It's the same. It's not any different. All right, let me get to some of y'all comments. Brad is going to say, "We tried, but couldn't make it happen." That's true. And however true that may be, I think we've reached the point where we've said, "Brad, we don't care." I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. We don't care. Listen, you've got to make it happen. That's it. You've got to make it happen. Dan Campbell's body language says it all. Like a cheap trader, Brad Holmes is there in the like a cheap trader, Brad Holmes is there. Okay, got it. You should have started first with the "in the tune" of State Farm. You got to start with that first. Then I would have done it first. Like a cheap trader, Brad Holmes is there. All right. When Herman the GOAT more gonna be live? I don't know. I don't know when Herm gonna be live, man. Keitho, wait, I thought Gibbs was the answer and screen passes. Gibbs isn't the answer for 16 times picking up the blitz. And the screen passes that Johnny Moe runs are trash. Hassan Imandi says, "Hi, brother. Good evening. I still trust Mr. Holmes and Coach Dan. We're good, 5-3. We'll be fine. Yes, last game was bad. Players was rusty, no motivation, no spirit, lack of communication." I hope you're right. I just think it's a little bit deeper than that. It's deeper than rap. I would have, if it was Osama bin Johnson at the helm of this offense, and we had a game like we had last Sunday, then I would be more confident in him to fix it. I was watching the Woodward heavyweights earlier. Shout out Spinny and Easy. And the question was asked, because Easy was like, when I went back and watched the tape again, that was coaching. These are things that can be fixed. And Spinny said, "Do you have confidence in Johnny Moe to fix it?" Easy said, "Yes." I said, "Hell to the no. To the no, no, no. Hell no." Because we've seen this too many times. There's always an excuse. Well, the offensive line isn't as good as last year. You knew that going into the season. What was your contingency plan? You knew you weren't going to have Frank Ragnow. You knew Graham Glasgow was going to be playing in his place. You knew you had 2 rookie offensive guards. You knew all of these things. What did you do to make it easier for them? That's my question. I have no faith in Johnny Mo. I'm putting my hat in the ring. I've seen enough. I have zero faith in Johnny Mo. And like I said yesterday, I hope he sees this. It's not a bit. I have no faith in you, brother. Because he hasn't learned. He keeps running the same damn screen pass every freaking week that doesn't work. Even in wins, he runs the same damn screen pass, and it pisses me off because it doesn't work when we win. It definitely doesn't work when we lose. So, do I have any confidence in Johnny Mo turning it around? No. Next week is not a barometer. Guys, Jaden Daniels ain't playing. Frankie Louvu has been suspended because he's dirty. Terry McLaurin ain't playing. Luke McCaffrey might not play. Marcus Mariota is your quarterback. You should beat them by 50 because they are a lesser opponent than the Chicago Bears were in week number 2. You should beat them by 50. And if you beat them by 50, you've still shown me nothing, Johnny Mo. There's not a whole hell of a lot Johnny Mo can do in this game unless he calls a game where we put up 600 offensive yards. Because no NFL team is supposed to give that up. Right? So if he puts together a game plan where we're clicking on all cylinders and we rack up 40 points or 50 points on this team, then I can say something. But until then, I don't want to hear nothing about Johnny Mo and his ability to do anything. We good, facts. What up, though, everyone? GM failed us. I'll keep saying it. Brad's a bum. This is Brian Brady. What up, though? Don't make sense to trade for him in Brad's eyes. I feel you. New to the chat. Shout out Brian Brady. Appreciate you, man, coming through. Glasgow, not a party favorite either. Nope, he's not. So sick of coach saying, I don't have them ready. Well, that's your job, Dan. Facts. Brad, a decent scout, but his GM skills blow. I wouldn't say that. I would say there are a few things that he has blind spots for, and those things are glaring. He has a blind spot for injured players, the blind spot for, I wouldn't even say the trade deadline. I mean, he generally makes moves. As I said, the first year and this year are the years that he didn't make moves, the 2 years, the 3 years sandwiched in between, he made moves in all of those years. You know, I would say definitely drafting projects where you give up multiple picks to go move up and to get that project, which Tesla might have gotten drafted by another team, but Broderick Martin wasn't getting drafted by anybody else. I'm sorry. He just wasn't. That wasn't going to happen. Just wasn't. If my aunt had balls, she would be my uncle, though. If it was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. Only player that even gets a pass from me this last game is Derek Barnes. I thought you were saying bum, LOL. Can we call the offensive line the offensive whom? The line of whom? Nope, because we know 4 of those players. And where has that gotten us? Nowhere. First round and out. Mm-hmm. Keying for facts. Sorry to say it, we are still the same old Lions. I wouldn't say we're the same old Lions. That's harsh. Okay, I'm back. The gym was packed. The worst part about making no trades is that the Vikings gave the NFL the keys to stopping Gibbs, and we did nothing about it. So I would say the only way that the Vikings gave the NFL the keys to stopping Gibbs is if we continue to do the same thing. And that's where our confidence in Johnny Mo comes into play. Do you have confidence that Johnny Mo will fix anything? Let me know in the chat. Bruh, I don't even know if I will get to all your comments today. This is a whole show getting to y'all comments. Uh, no, we aren't, and that is what makes everyone so pissed. The team is well built. It's just never finished for a good run. I'm almost 50 and I see nothing different. Same hype as the Stafford and Sue. Well, I can tell y'all all day long why Stafford never won here, but people don't agree with me. That's why we call him Osama bin Johnson. He's a terrorist. 2024 draft was mostly wasted. The only bright side with that draft, one, maybe two guys worried about paying. 3 TDs for Tesla, but can't use picks where we need players. Just ridiculous. Three third rounds, yes. And he got Miami to pay for him too. How is a bad man? I'll tell you that much. uh, to talk about what? Now I know you guys want me to come up here and say something, but I've got nothing to say because I did absolutely nothing, guys. Um, it's not Tesla's fault, but the thing is this: if you're not gonna use them, then it's a waste. It's a waste of 3 picks. I don't have a problem with the player. I have a problem with the compensation given up. No, I don't want to hear about Tyler Lacey. With the picks, facts. Smash that like button on both channels. Um, if any of you guys are not subscribed to the Motor City Cats, just make sure you do that. Make sure you subscribe to the Motor City Cats. I'll put the link in the chat for you guys so you can go over there and subscribe. I'm trying to get back to 1,000 subs the right way. You know, I'm not the type of person that buys subs. There are people out there, you know, I'm looking at. It's just not possible. It's just not possible. All right. So that is the link down there below. Brad was good in the first 3 rounds. After that huge fall off. All right. Colts lost the other day. They made a move. Cowboys lost last night. They made moves. I mean, rummage sale players. I haven't heard rummage sale in a while. Brad called Vlad Guerrero Jr. today, and he had to remind Brad that he plays baseball, not football. Although Vlad is kind of built like he could play some football, no joke. 5 years, facts. That's what's happening. AQM, who would have thought, right? All right. I'm making my way through. Making my way downtown, walking fast. All right. Then we got Morton who thinks it's the right call to run on 3rd and 15. Yes. Yes. This is why I was crashing out yesterday. I met a little bit of pushback. And I told the pushback to go sit down someplace. I didn't want to hear from it today. Oh, round 5 is for projects, right? And so why do we keep taking them in round 3? That's my point. Nobody was drafting Broderick Martin. Mm-hmm. All right. I hope so. If the players are fed up with his play calling, then Jared Goff needs to call some audibles, bro. Facts. Mhm. Fifth round guard. Is that Kobe Sorsdahl, or are you talking about Miles Frazier? I think it's Miles Frazier. So Kobe Sorsdahl sucks. Mm-hmm. Dr. Detroit, that's his dad. So his dad's gonna say that. Yep. No players, no picks. There's always next year. Yeah. Yeah, Lattimore's out. I forgot about that. He's always out, right? All right. Let me grab a drink and then get to the rest of these comments. Hold on. It's too much. All right. All right. Here's what we're gonna do. Because this chat is flowing and I can't keep up with it. So what I will do an extended mailbag. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they reading you? Mailbag. So next is like mailbag. Get your mailbag questions in. Get them in. Basket it. So go ahead and get your mailbag questions in, and I will get to as many of them as I can. Because like I said, I like to include you guys, man. I like to read your comments and everything. It makes the show go by much quicker, but also there's too many comments today. So whatever you want, questions you want to ask, comments you want to make, put them in your mailbag, MB such and such, and then we will go ahead from there. All right. Taylor, this mailbag section is sponsored by TaylorMade Media. All right. TaylorMade Media's mailbag. The Lions don't have another bye the rest of the regular season. How likely is it that Brad Holmes and his team decided that it's a surer bet to wait on his starters to return? The problem with that, so we've got DJ Reed, who should be returning sometime soon. We've got Kirby Joseph, who might miss his third straight game against the Commanders. Christian Mahogany won't return for a very long time. We're probably talking about the last couple weeks of the season before he's able to return. Marcus Davenport, I just mentioned him because he's on the team for some reason. We don't know anything about we don't know about Josh Pascal. I believe they think it was a surer bet, but I don't think it was the right choice to make. That's what I got. All right, mailbag. Wouldn't you say that it's obvious by now by how many times Goff called out kill? I would say, first of all, the kill calls were mainly because the blitz is happening. If the blitz isn't happening, he doesn't have to go to his backup play. But yeah, I do understand what you're saying. Goff was not happy with the play calls, and they weren't putting them in the right position to be successful. So yeah, I got what you said, and I would say yes, agreed. No, you didn't comment too much. Everybody was commenting. I couldn't keep up. All right, mailbag. How can this all get fixed in the offseason? Fire Johnny Moe. Get in a real offensive coordinator. Free agency in the draft. You know, if you get a couple of see the thing is this. The Lions don't have many holes. The problem that the Lions have is the roster is, I would say, complete. But then when somebody gets injured, the plan is just to get someone off to their couch and the practice squad. It's not really about getting someone that can help right away. Does that make sense? So, you know, we've got offensive linemen who are being dangled for trade, and we go sign a guy off to a practice squad. So yeah, I got that. Mailbag says, I was told that the Lions O-line was a set of road graders from tackle to tackle if they call blocking the run game. How the hell is Jared Goff going to get the ball to St. Brown? I was told we had more weapons than St. Brown. But I was also told by Johnny Moe that I don't care what the situation is, I'm going to force it to 14. And that's your problem. Everybody knows what you're doing. Mailbag, considering our banged up O line and Kirby being banged up too, and the lack of confidence in Johnny Moe, what are your new win loss totals? I don't know. See, I can't do that because how long does Johnny Moe stay around if he doesn't fix it? How long until he gets fired? How long is he going to screw around until he realizes that he's on the hot seat and his hand is forced? So I just don't know. I just don't know. I don't know if from week to week. I don't know if this offense is going to be Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde. So I can't even really give you an accurate depiction of what I thought. But if you're gonna make the playoffs, you got to be at least 11-6. I think 11 wins, 6 losses get you crawling into the playoffs. But I don't think you can be 10-7. I know you can't be 9-8. So got to be at least 11-6 to get to the playoffs, I believe. Um, uh, if JJ McCarthy wove his way to a W versus the Lions, what are your expectations for defending Marcus Mariota and his mobility? JJ McCarthy had 12 yards running. He had 12 yards rushing. So it wasn't even his mobility um, that hurt us. The person that was hurting us in the running game was Aaron Jones. So I'm not worried about Marcus Mariota at all. And the defense is significantly better than the offense. It has been all year. It's been since training camp. But we just didn't realize it was like that in training camp because Johnny Mose sucks. We didn't realize that. Scotty Montgomery. We should not be that upset. This is on Brad and Dan to bring a Super Bowl to Detroit this year. Let it not happen. We won't be going after players this next offseason. We touched on this yesterday. He said, he told JMO, I failed you. No, mofo, you failed on everyone. All right, mailbag. And I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but what happens if we happen to miss the playoffs? If we happen to miss the playoffs, people will be calling for Brad Holmes' head. I know that to be 100% true. Especially since you did nothing at the trade deadline. Predicted a 10-7 season and wild card still hoping. LOL. I don't know. 10-7 is difficult, bro. 10-7 is gonna be hard to get into the playoffs with that. Yeah, this is true. This is very true. All right, let's get in a couple more mailbag questions, and then we will stop out. Yeah, we said that earlier. Gibbs should be blocking guys twice. Should be blocking guys twice the size. Player suicide, homicide. Um, Mailbag. Anyone still on the Johnny Mo bandwagon? I fell off Sunday. I was never on it. I gave him a pass week one, and I was trying to get people to give him a chance. But when you start saying things that you don't do, and more often than not, Johnny Mo is not doing the things that he says, I can't rock with you. What up, though, Lamico Collins or Cardenas? Why did I call you Collins? D'Amico Ryans? Okay, I don't know. I don't know what I did there. Uh, This can't get with the budget Super Bowl theory. Yeah, it doesn't really work. That's the problem. It doesn't really work. You like the Frazier pick? I don't know if you've seen him in college. He was a monster. Yeah, but unfortunately, he's been injured for the whole season. I think he's either back to practice or he'll be back to practice soon. Um, if they haven't started his clock yet, they might need to start it. Uh, uh, Thought I was watching Anthony Lynn all over again. Oh goodness, hey, man, it wasn't far off. It was not far off. Now I'm wondering if Tanner Engstrand was better. Who knows? Robert Stevens says I'm so. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up. Um, Again, appreciate y'all for coming through. If you are not a subscriber to Motor City Cats, go ahead, hit that link, man. Go subscribe. It takes nothing. It's free, but it definitely helps me out. And if you are already a subscriber of the Motor City Cats, I appreciate you. But once again, uh, we're gonna get into something tomorrow. I don't know, man. It's been a pretty bad week for the Detroit Lions. Losing to the Vikings, everybody getting injured, and then you doing nothing to shore up your weaknesses and fill in some holes after the injuries happen. That pretty much sums up the entire offensive wall. So again, the Motor City Cats are indeed back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. I'll take this one last mailbag. Um, I really think that Johnny Mo being up in the box could really be a problem. You think Dan may mandate he comes down to the sidelines? I don't. I don't care what he does. I just need him to fix his problems. If he comes to the sidelines and that's going to help him, great. If he comes to the sidelines and it doesn't help him, great. Because if it doesn't, you know he needs to be fired. So whatever Dan mandates, I hope it leads to a very, very quick solution to this Johnny Mo problem. Uh, but yeah, we're gonna be out. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.